First of all, I want to get your thoughts on the macro picture, because to me, the IMF, it sounded very gloomy. I mean, they say all the downside risks are obviously tilted to the downside, and a lot of things could go wrong. Are you as pessimistic, or maybe you feel may not be as bad?
I think I can refer to a joke between what's the difference between optimist and pessimist.
What is it?
They look at the same glass of water, and one pessimist see half empty glass, and optimist see half full glass, right? But it's anyway, the glass is not full. There is a certain amount of water. So I see very similarly, I could say, about the situation about the economy. Yes, global economic growth this year is going to be slower than last year. And much of this comes from the advanced economies, their slower growth. But on the other hand, economies proved to be more resilient than expected before. They sustain substantial economic shocks. And for instance, Euro area economic growth was revised twice up by the ECB, from 0.5 to 1% growth for 2023.
And I assume that you trust your in-house projections better than the IMF.
Well, IMF projections, I would say, kind of show similar picture. For Euro area is 0.8 growth, and it was revised up, not that much, by 0.1 percentage point, but still, it was revised up. So economies proved to be more resilient, one hand, but growth this year going to be slower than last year.
And you say the joke of the glass full or empty, but the joke, it's a joke, but also the glass has repercussions that are not a joke for your monetary policy. So what are the implications for it? There's a meeting coming up in May. The idea is that the ECB will continue to hike. Is it your idea that the ECB will continue, should continue to hike?
We are not targeting the economic growth. We are targeting the inflation rate. And what we see about inflation, yes, headline inflation is decreasing substantially, but it's on account of the reduced energy price shocks, right? What we also do see, this is very sticky, core inflation. It's peaking at the moment, and maybe next month or a couple months later it will reach its peak. But what can be said about core inflation? That it's sticky, and it's stickier than it was thought before. And it drives the thinking in terms of the monetary policy decisions.
So that means when you sit at the Governing Council in May, you will ask for how much? 25 basis points?
It means that we shouldn't pause in our midway. We did a long work, a quick walk by hiking interest rate, and we hiked quite a bit in less than 1 year.
The fastest on record.
Yes, exactly, but we are not done. So inflation is still there, and it's broad-based. It's stubbornly high. It's too high for too long, and we need to fight it. So I believe we can't pause in our May meeting, but whether it's 25 or 50, if you want to ask, let's see. We depend on data. Let's see the data when we have at the table of a decision.
But just to make it clear, because there's an important divergence perhaps here in the debate. Is the debate, should we hold or go for 25, or is the debate we're obviously not going to stop, it's about the size of this rate hike?
I think it's a debate how to cage the inflation to where it should be, how to cage the inflation to 2% of its target in medium term. So if I understood your question right.
And that means that therefore it's about the magnitude of the hike and not the trajectory.
I don't think it's only about the magnitude. It's also about the determination of the central bank to bring inflation back to its target in the medium term.
And sir, now we head into a very intellectual debate, which is fascinating, but also makes your life very difficult. What we're seeing is almost this dichotomy between the headline inflation. As soon as energy prices go down, headline inflation follows down. That's the target that you pursue, the close but to 2%. But core inflation is sticky. So what number do you look at? The target that you pursue, or actually what we know of the inner dynamics?
The reaction function, I think, is very well defined in our monetary policy statement. We do look at the data, economic and financial data at the moment of the decision. We do at the dynamics of the underlying inflation, and we do have at the efficiency of the transmission of the monetary policy decision. So it's not only one data, one number or another number.
But do you worry about the separation that we're seeing in the data? Will they converge? Or actually, is this a new playbook where potentially you see them heading two different ways?
you might have a certain period of time where, core inflation, it's moving into different direction at the moment. Core inflation is growing while headline inflation is falling, but we very well understand the reasons behind this. This is energy price dynamics, and that's what drives the headline inflation down. But inflation without food and energy components is going up, and that's worrisome.
And obviously, the big question here is, well, Madame Lagarde was here, your fellow colleagues of the Governing Council are here. The market wants to have confidence that this is a central bank that will achieve its target, because your entire reputation is built on this. Do you have confidence in Madame Lagarde that she will bring in this consensus? It's not easy to set monetary policy for so many different economies.
Absolutely, I have confidence that we'll do our job. And macroeconomic projections, they very well indicate that we are on the right path, and we are making right steps. Inflation for 2025, it definitely goes down, as you see from macroeconomic projections. Yes, it's still a little bit above 2, but we still have some room for maneuver. And inflation expectations are well anchored, so I think we do a great job.
And I left the hardest question for, well, the last one, obviously, 50 basis points. Is that something that you don't even contemplate? It came into the debate at one point, then died out a little. Is that something that you say, we're not going there? At least I don't contemplate that figure.
I think we should be open to all options, right? 25, 50, but let's wait and see
Even 50.
For May. In May data, we'll see inflation for April, preliminary estimate for inflation. We'll see GDP growth for first quarter. We see all our data, and then we'll take decision.